According to NBA legend and master of the Chicago Bulls, that is Michael Jordan, I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. You know what? Air Jordan, you're 100% right. If you don't try, you're not going to succeed. If you don't succeed, try again. This is the fact of life. Today on this episode of Chatterbox, we're going to talk about sports. But sports in regards to movies, media, you get the gist. You've heard it all before. Millennial madness. Why we love sports movies. What's so influential about sports movies? What makes them so great? And what are the best ones to watch? So, for all you listeners out there, kick back, relax. Let's get started. Hey folks, how y'all doing? I'm Al Tessier. Welcome to another episode of Chatterbox. Joining me today is host of Loftside Banter, fellow podcaster Andrew Diamantopoulos. Andrew, nice to have you on the show.
I appreciate you inviting me on. I really appreciate being here and hope I can contribute.
Yes, let's hope we can both contribute. And by contribute, I mean making sure that we get listeners. That's right, folks. Put down the TV remotes and pick up your cell phones and listen into stuff rather than just brainwashing yourselves and watching your eyes melt as you, I don't know, binge Game of Thrones, which is what I've been doing lately. So, Andrew, you're a big sports guy, a Bostonian sports guy like myself. And one thing that it's only really hit me back, and I feel like they've stopped it, is making great sports movies about like sports history, or that just bring kind of that essence of joy to the game that we love. So you told me beforehand you have a list of favorite sports movies. Like, lay them on me.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of movies in my time. I think I have about 450 downstairs. When Blu-rays were, big and everybody was buying them, now you can just stream everything. But sports movies have their own category because they're not known for being great, but there's some of them out there, especially some documentaries. My first one is Hoop Dreams. It follows two Chicago, like inner city kids throughout their whole high school career, and then their path of trying to make it to the NBA. It's William Gates and Arthur Agee. It's fantastic. They filmed like thousands and thousands of hours of these kids and their story of trying to make it, and it shows how difficult it is to, even with kids with expectations. So that's my number one. Number two is a movie called When We Were Kings. It follows the Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman. For those of you who don't know, he doesn't make just grills. He was a bad man as a boxer. But the documentary, what's fascinating about it is it was actually put in place to follow the music that was supposed to go before the boxing match. And this was back in the 70s, or 60s or 70s.
Really? That's interesting.
B.B. King and James Brown were performing, and they just went, hey, why don't we film some of the boxing stuff? And it ended up turning into this huge, moment in sports where Muhammad Ali is just coming back from his whole suspension because he wouldn't fight in Vietnam and stuff like that. So it's a very, very good documentary. I highly recommend it, even if you're not a sports fan. 3 was Miracle. It is a quintessential moment in sports where the U.S. beats the Russian.
It is my favorite sports movie. That is number one on my list. I'm a huge hockey guy. I got my wife turned on to hockey, and she comes from a very, very hot country. She's from Venezuela, one of the hottest countries in Latin America, and I converted her to the cold.
Yeah, well, that's New England for you. I mean, as much as people will say it's Patriots or Red Sox or whatever, it's still a hockey town for a lot of stuff. So Miracle is great. It's just, again, that it's the goosebump moment of the call and everything else like that from Al Michaels. 4 is Rocky. That one is probably the most rewarded for Academy Awards. I believe it has 10. But
I did not know it had 10. I knew it definitely nailed it at the Oscars. I didn't know the number was that high, though.
I believe it is. I listened back to my episode about it and I said 10, so I'm hoping right. But that zero to hero, underdog story type stuff, it's that quintessential stuff like that. And then 5 is Friday Night Lights, and because Texas is God, and then football. I mean, that's what it is. And these are high school kids. I mean, and
That's
it's
the way it is all down south. Once you hit, I think like once you hit like at least West Virginia down, they literally their go-to sport. They ignore baseball completely. It gets so fucking hot down there that they don't really embrace hockey. It's all about college
yeah,
football. It is part of the lifestyle if you live
yeah,
down there. I think like from like West Virginia all the way to the tip of Florida.
yeah. It's that whole SEC is dominant type thing in college
Mhm.
football. So, um, yeah, these are high school kids. I mean, this is following. It's a movie about high school kids, and it's a true story. There's a documentary about that as well. I believe ESPN did one for the 30 for 30. Um, but there's other stuff like White Man Can't Jump, which is an honorable mention for me. I mean, it's inner city New York type basketball where they believe they're the mecca of it. Then you have Hoosiers, which is backwoods Indiana basketball, that can get 50,000 people to watch a high school game.
Million Dollar Arm. There's another one that
Yep.
a lot of people don't really think about. I think people ignore it because it's a Disney movie. But then again, if you look at it, Disney has actually done some really kick-ass sports movies. They did Remember the Titans. They did Miracle and stuff like that. Maybe it has to do with the fact that Disney's just ruined their reputation over the course of the past 5 years.
Yeah, I think people don't actually assume that those things come from Disney, but like you said, Miracle is a Disney movie. Remember the Titans, a very uplifting, ahead of its time type of movie where you're really seeing, and again, a true story of
Fun
something.
fact about Miracle, and I don't exactly love to give it credit. So, those of you who know my story know that I am the survivor of a theatrical cult. Believe it or not, our leader, Tom, auditioned for Miracle, and he almost got the role of Mike Eruzione.
Oh
He
wow!
moonwalked on ice to try and get the role, but because he didn't look enough like Rizzo, they turned him down. So
I mean, gotta
I'm,
kind of
I'm
look like the character.
yeah, he's not like me. Like me, I've got 1980s hockey hair on my head, so I probably could have like been even just playing one of the been improv playing. I don't know, like a member of the Swedish team, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so there's a fun fact about a dark chapter of my life.
Is it something that you think about when you watch Miracle?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Fuck no. Fuck no. Not under any circumstances. I just think about the hype. One thing that I think is important about sports movies that people maybe ignore is that they're very good for getting you high on life, energy, and optimism. You had mentioned Rocky, which is just. Here's the thing about Rocky. I feel it's a little much that they made so many damn sequels to it. I mean, no disrespect to Sly under any circumstances. Stallone, if you're hearing this right now, like Sly, you are awesome. You're superb. But I'm like, he made like so many. And typically I don't embrace the making of sequels. I'm very as a screenwriter and filmmaker, I'm not one in favor of it.
Right.
Yeah, but so director Ryan Coogler, I'm sure you know who he is.
Yep.
The man behind Black Panther, the man behind Creed. So Ryan Coogler, I'd seen an interview with him. He said his father would, in order to get him motivated, his father was a big fan of the Rocky films. Every time his father needed to motivate him, they would sit down and they would watch one of the Rocky movies. And that kind of laid out the groundwork for why he made Creed.
No, I mean, that makes sense. I agree with you that there's way too many additions to it, especially when you're getting to the point of Sly Stallone trying to fight a guy that's in his prime, and that's supposed to be the premise of everything. But Creed is a different aspect to it, and though you can call it a sequel, I guess, it follows a part of Rocky's life that now we're talking about, a kid of Apollo Creed and everything else like that.
Rest in peace, Sam Weathers.
Yep, rest in peace. It's an interesting dynamic. I mean, it goes again for like Fast and Furious movies. Like, how many different things can you do with cars that are just going fast? And then you're getting to the unbelievable of pretty sure they blew up a plane with a car at one point. Like, just, we're at a point where they just go, let's just milk this until there's nothing left. And unfortunately, Rocky is one of those things that we're at a point that it's just, all right, there's nothing left.
What I like about Creed, so I haven't seen Creed 3 yet. I know it's on the must-watch list, but I loved Creed 1 and Creed 2. Props to Michael B. Jordan. You did a phenomenal job. You were great in Sinners. It was definitely a different story altogether. When I watched that, the first film that came to mind actually was From Dusk Till Dawn. But I feel what it is I don't look at it as a sequel. I see it as a new legacy for the new generation.
Yeah, no,
that's the way I perceived it, and I think that's important, actually.
I mean, you're talking about a character that has almost no establishment in the original Rocky movies, and then now it's, hey, here's the kind of storyline. This is the kid of Apollo Creed. Oh, here's the story of Apollo Creed, and then it's a tie-in. A spinoff, maybe probably the best way to categorize it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, Rocky is present, he's there, but he's not the focal point anymore.
No.
So those are the things that I think separate that, whereas, like I said, Fast and Furious this is a repeat of the same characters and stuff like that.
I think Stallone has a line in it. He's like, I had my career, and you see how that turned out. I can't. Typically, I can do impersonations of a lot of people, but there are just some I'll never be able to nail. And for Sly, it's one of them. I can't do an impersonation of him, no matter how hard I try.
Yeah, I'm not an impersonations person, so if you're looking for anything like that, you're gonna get blank stares at what I can probably give you from.
Oh, trust me, I can do Hannibal Lecter. I can do the Heath Ledger version of the Joker. I can sound like an absolute demon of an individual. I can sound like a guy who's 85 years old and has dementia.
I think the best I can do is Consuela from Family Guy, and that's like the extent of and it's like one line, and even that I'm like, this might be stretch, but that's what I got in the arsenal of impressions.
ESPN, here's the thing about it. So everybody, when we think of sports on television, let's go back to where sports goes, because sports has a broad range as to how we enjoy it, how we embrace it. I mean, for me, if I'm going to enjoy sports, I want to go to the game. Yeah. I want to, because that's where the real energy is at. Like when I'm in TD Garden watching the Bruins and just hearing that noise, that screaming, I get more high than somebody who just did 3 lines of cocaine.
Right.
And I don't even do drugs.
It's one of those things you have to kind of be there and feel it. Like, of all the people that talk about, like, I'm a Patriots season ticket holder, and, you go to a game, parking lot. Yeah.
Does that mean you can get me tickets to the Patriots? Because they just went on sale and the price is awful.
Yeah, I have 2 tickets. So I have them with my dad. My dad is, and we go to like 2 games a year, and then his buddy buys all of them. So that's where we kind of do that, because it's kind of one of those things that's, it's a trek sometimes, and especially with traffic and everything else, all about it. But
oh yes,
it's $50 to $60 to park your car. It's, $20 to get anything to eat. It's, $100 in a pro shop. It's this, that, and the third, and then you're fighting with people throughout the game. And by fighting, I mean getting in and out to go to the bathroom, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can't replace the energy of a crowd. No. And I'm 38 years old, and if I can sit on the couch and watch TV and watch the game, great. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. But you miss out on the atmosphere, especially a Bruins game.
Oh, definitely.
You miss out on all that different stuff. So going to it and being one of those members that can say I was there, it fits better than I watched it on TV.
Yeah. And here's the thing about TV too, is that like ESPN, they have their own streaming service now and stuff like that, and also their partnership with like YouTube TV and stuff like that. Do you feel that their step up into the streaming world has kind of sort of ruined sports? Because if you turn back the clock to like 2000, rather than going to church on Sunday, one of the best things to do was to sit on your ass and watch the Pats on TV or watch like Notre Dame play BC. Do you feel that ESPN stepping up the way they have and joining the streaming community has kind of ruined sports a little bit?
Yeah, so for those of your listeners that don't know, we have something around here called Nessun, and you need YouTube TV to get Nessun. You can't get it on anything else. You can't get it on whatever. Maybe it's Hulu TV, whatever it is. But then you want to watch the NBA on TNT. Well, you need this particular service to get that. There's really no one unified thing to get everything that you want to watch. You have to either have a password. Not that password sharing's ever a thing. We would never do that. But, ESPN doing that stuff. The good thing with ESPN is it's part of that Disney package. So if you are getting Disney for kids or yourself or whoever, ESPN is a part of that. So it kind of works out that way, but you just can't go to a channel anymore and just, flip through anything. It's all right. I have to have this service. I have to have that service. And then you can never have all of them, or else you're paying more than what cable was anyway. So that's the frustrating thing is, I want to watch the Sox on Nessun. All right, well, I have to have this. Oh, well, now, it's NBA season. Oh, well, now I need to have this one. And yeah, you can go through the trouble of canceling one, doing this, doing that. But then even any overlap, you're never going to have everything. So I'm a little disappointed that it is all that stuff. But again, ESPN works because it's part of that larger Disney thing. The one-offs that you want, you're never going to have all of them again. That's just the way it is at this point.
Me, I feel it has ruined it a bit. I'm a staunch critic. Most people who know me will tell you that. Oh yeah, he's a critic, especially when it comes to movies. But I also criticize technology and the media tremendously. I think it's fucking ruined it, to be honest, because like I remember hearing stories about my uncle, God rest his soul, who was a big college football guy, and on Sunday, what he would literally do is he would sit his ass down on the couch, turn on the TV and just binge college football all day. For him, that was the experience. And it was that way for a lot of people, for our parents' generation, for people in the early 2000s, the 90s. That was an experience in and of itself. Not as great as going to the game in person, but just that this is our day. This is game day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people lose out on the you want to watch, like for college football wise, you want to watch the better teams and see all these different, how they stack up, especially with this new playoff system they have. But when you go to streaming, you tend to drift towards what Boston College or anything else like that. So you may not watch the games that you should be watching. And, one of my many vices is, I tend to put some money down on some games here or there. And you do this thing where you kind of go and you watch it, and then you're not really enjoying the game now. You're enjoying or not enjoying, depending on how the game's going. I think you lose out on what you can watch. Like, whereas you said your uncle would just sit down and turn on the TV and flip through a couple of channels. All right, you have a few choices. These are your choices. This is what you're going to watch. And yeah, they try to do as many local things as possible, but most of the time, these big networks want the best teams. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get SEC, Big 10, Big 12 action, stuff like that. So yeah, to an extent, you have ruined it. Now you may have more choices, but you're never focused on something.
And also, I think like here's another thing. I think I do get why they converted to streaming services. I think it's also because whether people believe it or not, it is more affordable. So I'm going to give you, we are going to educate you a little bit about what it is like in regards to pricing when it comes to going to these wonderful events. We are going to educate you about the Boston Sports Pyramid. You know what that is.
Yep.
Cheapest to most expensive.
Yeah.
So, for all you dummies up there, this is a lesson from Professor Al and his intern, Drew.
I'll take it. Boston is considered one of the more expensive markets to see any of these events. Talking about the Bruins, the Bruins have gone out, and free agency just happened. The draft just happened. And unfortunately for free agency, they did the same mistakes that they probably always do, which is go sign a guy that's just tough and doesn't score that much for a lot of money that nobody will want after that. And the argument I made is you're charging on average $95 a ticket, which is the most or second most, I believe, in the NHL. And yet you're going to put the same product out there that has not won in a little while. So that's kind of that stuff. Patriots tickets, I can tell you, are not cheap. They are not cheap. And especially with all the work they just did on the stadium, the prices ain't going to go down. And the argument then for most people is, well, why do you pay to go, or why do they charge us high prices? Well, it's bad business if you don't get what you can. If you're charging less than what you can actually get, then what are you doing other than losing money? So that's how all this kind of works out.
I didn't know they upgraded Gillette. How does it look now?
So the screen, so I sit opposite the lighthouse that's there in the stadium. There's a huge screen. It's the world's largest outdoor screen for a stadium. And it's magnificent. Don't get me wrong. It's very cool. The lighthouse got an upgrade. They have the Hall of Fame now. They have all this different stuff that's around there. All of the Patriots Place stuff, movie theater. They have all these. They have escape rooms in there. They have a whole bunch of different restaurants. So it's an experience to go for the day.
It's literally a town within a town.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Foxborough, for anybody that didn't know, up until the Patriots went there, was one road that had nothing around it. There was like Rodman Auto Glass, and that was it. That's where I used to park with my dad, in that parking lot. Now they have like 4 locations on that road. All these things have popped up. Liquor stores, of course, have popped up. It's now its own thing. So,
and if you live in Foxborough, you probably will get worse traffic than we get here in the city.
Oh yeah, yep. At least 8 Sundays out of the year.
Yeah, a guy I used to know who had been a host on a former podcast I used to do. He lives within walking distance of Gillette.
Yeah.
So literally he would have like a line of cars, trucks, and motor vehicles just like right in front of his house, to the point where you couldn't even get out of the driveway.
Yeah, it's terrible. So I've had an opportunity to live in different areas. I worked for hotels prior to podcasting, and at one point I was in Tampa, and so going to a Bucks game was, you could park, like people would charge you to park in their driveway, and that's how they made money during all that stuff.
That happens a bit too out here from time to time. So it's like I said, it's been a while since I've been to Gillette. The last time I was at Gillette was when Elton John came to town. And the experience was brilliant. I lost 90% of my voice because I was screaming and cheering. He did beastly piano solos so that he made Rocket Man last 5 minutes longer than the song actually is.
Nice.
But anybody who lived within close proximity, and even small businesses, were charging $20 or $30 for parking.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't park anywhere.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I know. Let's see where else. I've been in New Orleans. I've lived in New Orleans for a while, and I can remember there was a little mom and pop coffee shop right outside the exit of the Superdome, and they would be closed on Sunday because in New Orleans, Sunday is a family day, and you don't work on Sundays, or at least they didn't. And I remember walking in one day and just being like, "Hey, are you the owner?" And old lady's like, "Yeah." I said, "Why don't you open on Sundays, especially when the Saints are here?" She's like, "It's family day." I said, "I understand that, but you have 75,000 people filing out of a game to your front door. Like, you're missing out on all this business." And she's like, I don't know. I've thought about it. And the year I left, she was open on Saints Sundays, making all that money for coffee and stuff like that. So, like, all these little places, yeah, it brings some sort of revenue to you and some sort of extra and stuff like that. But it's one of those things of, is it worth the headache sometimes? Is it, for me, I look at a lot of things as a business. So
yeah,
it's worth it to me, but it may not be worth it to the next person. But yeah, all these places, will still charge 30, 40, 50. I've seen $50 for, like, I think it's called the Touchdown Motel is still on that.
Jesus Christ.
And it's $50 and it's a walk to the stadium. Like, it's far off in the distance, but I'm sure they make, for 8 Sundays a year, they make buku dollars or whatever you want to say.
Yeah. But to break it down in a nutshell, folks, this is the Boston sports pyramid in regards to pricing. At the bottom, you have the Boston Red Sox. I could buy Red Sox tickets right now for $30 and I'd still get a kick-ass seat over at Fenway. Next, you have the Bruins. Still pretty competitive because it's TD Garden, so you want to have a good view of the game. You don't always want to be looking at it like on the big screen and stuff like that. Next up, Celtics. Same deal, TD Garden, but also for some reason or another, the Celtics seem to rake in way more money than the Bruins do. And at the tippity top, the Patriots, especially when Brady and Gronk are in town, because out here they are demigods.
Yeah, it's fortunately now where the team hasn't been that competitive over the last few years. You can probably go on to like Game Time or whatever other app that sells tickets. You might be able to get some deals. I talked to a friend of mine who was selling the games that he didn't want to go to because there's hype this year with a new quarterback and, Mike Vrabel coming back as the coach and everything else. So there's a little bit of hype. So he's getting top dollar to sell his tickets. Now you go through 3 weeks and they're 0-3, forget it. You're not getting any money for them. Now it's going to be kind of those dirt cheap prices and stuff like that. But everybody wants to experience a Patriots game. There's still the mystique of that. Mm-hmm. So there still will be, and again, the crafts are not dumb. They're going to charge the most amount of money they possibly can because it's bad business not to.
A friend of mine, he is a diehard Pats fan, and I had been at TD Garden, and I had asked how much some tickets were and pricing and stuff. And turns out that Brady, even though he betrayed us, he turned to the dark side of the of the end zone. Was coming back to town to play a game. Nosebleed seats were $1,000 a pop. Mm-hmm. I told him, the moment I mentioned it is because Brady's in town. He's foaming at the mouth and he is itching. I'm like, you're gonna pay $1,000 for nosebleed seats, and he's like, I'm heavily thinking about it. My best guess is that his wife, who's also a Pats fan, probably talked them out of it and was like, no, we are not spending $2,000 to sit up in the nosebleed section and possibly freeze our ass off.
Yeah. I mean, Brady came back and they did the whole retirement thing. I was there for that. They were charging upwards of God knows what. Luckily, ours came within the package of season tickets. There was still an upcharge for them, but it wasn't what people were paying to kind of sit in those nosebleeds, as you mentioned. Yeah. This area loves sports and it loves the history of that. Fortunately, Boston has been a part of all of these different things, whether it's the Red Sox, having to go through 86 years before winning a World Series again. The Bruins, having the big bad Bruins in the 70s and the characters that were on that team. Mm-hmm. The Celtics, who have had success over the last few years. And then the Brady, Gronk, Belichick era of the Patriots. It's one of those things that we've been fortunate recently, but people don't remember, at least that are younger than me most of the time, that I watched the Patriots go 1-15 one year. I watched, the Red Sox, they're 500 team right now. I've watched the Celtics literally lose 25 games in a row.
I mean, I can still remember 2004, the Boston Red Sox. They break the curse of the Bambino. It was literally like, finally!
Yeah.
It's a miracle!
I can remember being at my house. My mother and I, we were in New Hampshire. And I remember, like, on the floor, like, please, something stupid's going to happen. Like, it always does. Like, how do we avoid that? Whatever. But, this area we grew up with all those things. Some of the other places that are around, New Orleans, they love the Saints. New Orleans Pelicans, oh, that's a basketball team. That's actually a team. Tampa has the Bucks, and then the Lightning had, when I was there, they had won the back-to-back Stanley Cup, so it was a hot thing then. And then that was the year that Brady went there. So everybody, when I moved from here down there, everyone was like, "Oh, you're just following Brady down there."
Yeah. I mean, this is the level of importance that sports plays in Boston for all of you who are not Bostonians.
Mhm.
So, let's go back to last year when the Celtics made it to the playoffs. This is how important it is. So, I pay the bills by working at a hospital. By the way, heads up to everyone: don't work in healthcare. It's not worth it under any circumstances. Anywho, so I'm sitting in the cramped room with all the CT technologists and stuff like that. Somebody's got the NBA playoff game live streaming on their iPad on YouTube and stuff like that. And this is how important it is. We had a patient who was screaming and yelling at us to bring him back to our room. Our eyes were glued to that iPad watching it, and we're in the back of our heads thinking, fuck you, pal. This is history in the making. You can wait a few minutes.
Yeah,
that is how important it is.
It's now we talk about, you know, football in the South. It's not that crazy because once you get past professional here in New England, it's like, so I'm a big Boston College guy, and
my sister went to BC.
Nice. So all the time that Boston College has been decent, either going to a bowl game or NCAA tournament or whatever, they always get the shitty draw because Boston College fans don't travel well. And so all these bowl games and stuff like that, they want the most people in the stadium. They want the most people watching. So if they know Boston College isn't that, because it used to be if you finished a certain spot of the ACC, you got a certain bowl game. Well, Boston College would never get it because the sponsors go, well, we don't want them. They don't travel well. Now you get to the professionals. All right, now everybody's traveling really well and stuff like that. We used to in New Orleans, since we were down the street where I worked in the hotel that I was down the street from the Superdome. We could go through the schedule and go, okay, Buffalo, they're going to travel okay. Oh, the Arizona Cardinals, they're not traveling. We're not going to be busy that day. Oh, the Atlanta Falcons are their biggest rival. Oh, they're going to travel really well. But that's just Boston. I mean, if it's a professional sport, they love you. If you're a college player, all right, we might pay attention to you. And if you're in the tournament or you're in a bowl game, we'll care. We won't go to it, but we'll care.
Yeah. Me, I always am in a bit of a bind when it actually comes to certain Boston College sports or Boston University sports. Because here's the thing, no shame to the phenomenal academic establishments we have out here. I'm actually a Notre Dame fan. Really? My old man went to Notre Dame and played lacrosse for them. I mean, even though my dad was an ass. My granddad, he went to Notre Dame. So that's how I was brought up. I was brought up to love ND football, plus we're Irish, so that also adds to the element of it. So I guess it's a rarity that I can find. I'm always, when I look for Boston sports, whether it be football or hockey, I'm always looking to see if Notre Dame is playing BC, BU, or one of the colleges out here, and it is a bitch. Like, it's a rarity that I find like that game, that one I want to, like, oh my god, finally they're here, they're playing Northeastern, I gotta get these tickets immediately.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame and Boston College had the Catholic rivalry for a very, very long time. It's faded out for quite a bit. Just, again, all the money that goes around in college sports these days. You know, you're playing teams to come play you. All these big schools like Notre Dame are paying colleges to come out there. So they want to obviously sell tickets and everything else. Again,
I mean, I feel it's a big deal when it comes to hockey, because one thing that people don't really understand, and of course, if you've seen the movie Miracle, where he's like, a lot of guys from Minnesota and Boston, yeah, that's going to work. But that's the reality of it, because the best hockey players, especially college hockey players, because, well, that's the go-to, in the country either come from the Midwest or the Northeast.
Yeah.
So it is like a neck and neck rivalry. It's very much like it's in the same league as like the Yankees versus the Red Sox.
Yeah. Boston, especially now with the Bruins having, I don't know, I think it's 8 prospects playing at Boston College right now.
Really?
Boston College hockey is going to be big. Yeah, their first round draft pick this year, James Higgins, is going to BC. I think there's 6 or 7 more. That's their
I'm gonna have to look, because I really am looking for like a BC Notre Dame hockey game. I haven't been to one in so long.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one since before I was married. I don't even think I had met my wife yet at that point, so I need to take her because she loves hockey. I
Yeah.
was able to Bostonize her. That's something. If you're a Bostonian, you're marrying an immigrant, you're bringing them to this country. One of the first things you need to do is you need to Bostonize them. You've got to get them to love the Bruins, love the Patriots, love the Red Sox.
Yeah.
If they're not one for the cold, tough shit. You got to make them love the cold and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You've got to let them know that whoopie pies are the most delicious dessert you can find in the entirety of this city.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, with all the different bakeries and pastries around here, I mean, you gotta do that. I mean, it's tough because Boston people are, on a normal day, would rather push you over and step on your face and not care that you're there. But when, like, the marathon happened, the marathon bombing, like, to see a city like that come together, and I'm not saying other places don't, it's just we know what Boston is like on a day-to-day basis, to then flip to they're cheering cops when they catch the guy. They're actively trying to help and everything else like that. I mean, it's interesting to me that it can have such vast differences, and it's unfortunate that it only happens when there's like trouble.
Exactly. But that's the way it's been for this country for the past 20 odd years. The only time we ever drop anything is when terror strikes our doorstep. And it lasts for a week? And then, okay, back to normal. I hate you, political this. I hate you, political that. And finger pointing, all that bullshit. Stuff like that. So it's a rarity. And I mean, like, literally just seeing Big Papi being like, this is our fucking city, and wearing the Boston jersey, that says something. And
sports turns stuff into that normality again. You're there to root for your team. It doesn't matter if you're from the South Shore, North Shore, from in city, from the western part of the state. You're here to see these guys and root for this, and that's kind of one meeting points for everybody. Doesn't matter who you kind of vote for or anything else. It's the Sox are on, or the Bruins are playing, or they're in the Cup, or the Patriots are playing the Jets, and fuck New York, all this different stuff. So it's the one thing that in the city that on a day-to-day basis makes everybody kind of go, you could have the most hardcore liberal person next to you, right-wing Republican next to that person, and Brady throws a touchdown to Gronk and they're high-fiving, and for that moment they forget all of that stuff.
They call us massholes for a good reason.
Right.
You cannot imagine how many people I flip off when I'm out walking around and a guy's like, spare change. I'm like, fuck you. Or I'm like, sprechen Sie Deutsch? Or no hablar inglés and stuff like that. You cannot imagine the the list of excuses I come up with to give people, to just be an ass to people. And I'm typically a very nice guy. I really am. But I mean, we one of the ways we just, I guess one might say hi is aggressively honking in traffic. That's one. That's our way of either saying hello and give you the middle finger at the same time.
Yeah, I've road rage beyond anybody. It's not healthy for me whatsoever. But you're on 93, you're on the Mass Pike, all the stuff, and you're just like, people just need to go. Like, I lived in Haverhill, Massachusetts at one point, which is, on a good day, 45 minutes outside the city. And as well as I do, 45 minutes outside the city at those traveling times of early in the morning or at 5 o'clock at night it's 2+ hours to get home. And to me, time is very valuable. And when I'm wasting it sitting there because somebody's either not paying attention or whatever the case may be, I just please go. Stop staring at other people in their cars. Stop slowing down. Let's just go.
Yeah, trust me. I mean, traveling for me is definitely, and also like traffic is definitely a bitch. I mean, I don't drive, I commute, but then again, I live in East Boston, aka the Staten Island of Massachusetts. So where I'm at, getting in and out can be a bitch. Yeah. Also, Ubers charge us an arm and a leg because of Logan Airport.
Yep.
I mean, even getting Uber Eats can be a nightmare. Like when we want Scoop and Scootery, which is our go-to place for desserts, it takes 60 plus minutes just to get here.
Yeah.
Like the quickest way out of this place is either the T or take the ferry to Seaport. That's you want to. That's why I say it's Staten Island in Massachusetts.
Yeah, if I'm going to a game in the city, whether it's at the Garden or at Fenway, I'm down the street from the train. I'm getting on the train. I don't have to worry about it. I may have to leave the game a little early. That's fine. I don't have to worry about the traffic in, out, whatever. I can sit there. You know what? If I have any juice left on my phone, great. Here, I'm set for a while.
Yeah. And let's circle back to movies and stuff like that, because people who know my podcast, they know me. I'm a movie junkie and stuff like that. I love it. In regards to typically when they make a lot of sports movies, they tend to always do it based on a true story, because that's what's so iconic, and that's also the real attention grabber. How do you feel that they do with that? Do you feel that they do it justice per se? Or do you feel that they've flawed when it comes to some instances?
The thing that people need to understand about sports movies is there's always going to be flaws in the story to an extent. Now, it can be based on a true story. Miracle. We brought it up a couple of times. The United States still beats the Russians. Spoiler alert, that's what happens. The people who score the goals are the ones who score the goals in the movies. The names of the people are there. Are they really everything that they've said? Is there an action that happens that may be a little flubbed here or there? Yeah, it's a movie. You still have to dramatize it. You still have to do these different things. For people that want to watch these and understand, like go to watch a fiction one any given Sunday. A football movie that's based on fake teams and everything else. The Replacements, another football movie, but if you're thinking that you're watching Miracle and everything that happened has happened and that's, gospel, it's not. It's got to be dramatized somewhere. It's got to be changed because there's stuff lost to history. The speeches that Herb Brooks may have said probably had a few words changed here or there just to make it better.
They actually left out the most important thing he said. So before the game against the Russians, the Soviets, because I always like to say, I know politics isn't the thing about my show, but the sun never sets on the Soviet Union. The night right before they played the Soviet-Russian team, rather than giving them a pep talk or anything, Herb Brooks said, "If you don't win this game, you guys are going to regret it for the rest of your fucking lives." Well, no, scratch that. I'm getting confused. It was after they beat the Soviets. It was right before they played Finland.
Oh yeah. Because
it was right before they played Finland. Yeah, oh my god, I feel so stupid.
Because that was the gold medal game.
Yeah,
I realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. My apologies if I sound bad, folks. I was literally up for 48 hours straight on 2 film sets recently, so my cognitive function has been pretty fucked up all day and stuff like that. Yes, the gold medal game right before they played Finland. Rather than giving them a hype speech, he was like, if you don't win this game, you're going to regret it for the rest of your fucking lives. Because they just beat the best country in the world. Right. So it doesn't get more epic than that.
I tend to tell people for movies to gravitate toward those documentaries because, again, they're documenting the things that are actually happening. And, when we were kings, like I said, they're for those of you who don't know, like I said, Muhammad Ali had come back to fight George Foreman in Zaire, Africa, which is now the Congo. And there's, the dictator had spent all this money to get this fight there. He was doing things behind the scenes that people were like in the documentary, like, yeah, he wanted all the, crime to go down for the time that everybody was here. So it looked good. So he was getting all these people and putting them in the bottom of the stadium. But while the fight's going on, he has people chained up in the basement of the stadium to keep the crime down and probably killed them. It's probably what happened.
It is the Red Continent.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's all these different things that are happening, but you're seeing Muhammad Ali say these things. You're seeing the way that people are reacting. George Foreman got off the plane with a German Shepherd, and all the people of Zaire were like, well, the Germans used to use German Shepherds against us.
Mm-hmm.
when they own this, so there's all these things that are happening and being said and being done that you can look back now and be like, oh, that wasn't the greatest move to do or whatever. I direct people a lot to ESPN 30 for 30s. And there's a whole bunch of different things that are on there, whether you're a basketball fan, wrestling, hockey, college basketball, whatever it may be. Some of the ones I wrote down here just to kind of touch on, like, there's one called Silly Little Game. It's about fantasy sports and how it was developed. And the guys who created fantasy sports, which is a billion-dollar industry now, make nothing from it because they called it rotisserie league baseball, which has nothing to do with fantasy baseball. Somebody marketed fantasy baseball and that took off. So even the guys that created it don't make any money from it. And it's funny how they kind of came about it and stuff like that.
I think that's also because they don't make money off of it, maybe even now, because thanks to things like DraftKings Sportsbook and FanDuel.
Yeah, so all the things that have evolved where it's Daly's fantasy football or whatever, you can, you're changing your lineup every week or whatever it may be. There's a whole bunch of different stuff like that. I went through, I grew up in New England. I was a Patriots fan. All the Patriots played in the 85 Super Bowl. They played against the Bears. Oh, I have to hate the Bears. The Bears beat them. Well, I have a documentary about the 85 Bears, and you get to meet the people that were there, and all right, they're not bad guys. They're not this. They're not that. It's an interesting story. And then there's even stuff like, I'm a big soccer fan, so I like a team over in England called West Ham United. And there's actually one over there about the mystery of the Jules Rimet Trophy, which was the original World Cup. The original is missing. And nobody really knows where it is because they used to give a prop to the teams on the field. So in 1966, when England won their only World Cup, they got the real one, they took photos, and then it's been switched around, and now it's lost. And it's probably the most valuable trophy in the world if anybody were able to find it. It's probably under some guy's bed, just waiting.
Want to know what my mother's favorite sports movie is?
What's that?
Wimbledon, starring Paul Bettany and Kirsten Dunst. Hey, I like it too. It's not my favorite, but I do love a good rom-com. Yeah. So I hand it to her. I'm like, okay, Mom, that's your favorite sports movie. I'll go with it. I definitely agree. It's good. One thing I love about sports movies too is the epic monologues you hear in them that get you, not that sets the tone and gets even you as the viewer. You're in that moment. You feel the energy that comes from it. Do you yourself happen to have a favorite monologue from a sports movie?
Oh, that's a good question. I like the Miracle where Herb Brooks goes, great moments are created by great opportunity, which is 1,000% correct. And no matter what you're doing, if you're, doing something and there's an opportunity for you to be better, if you don't take it, that's what it is. So, that one always resonates with me. Any speech in a locker room kind of gets you jonesed up for that. Even the ones where it's like Major League, where they're just kind of going back and forth, and Roger Dorn coming up and talking to Vaughn about strike this guy out, and then comes up and punches him afterwards because of something that he did or whatever. There's all little monologues through all of these that make you feel like you're standing there with them, and that's where the good ones are. Is it makes you feel like you're part of that.
Although I'm a big hockey guy, believe it or not, my favorite monologue is from Remember the Titans. And my apologies, I can do impersonations. I can't do Denzel Washington, but he's like, take a lesson from the dead, man. If we don't come together, we too will be destroyed.
Yep.
Just like them.
Yep.
I killed my brother with malice in my heart. That's why I love it, because it's true to history. It's true to where, sadly, of course, we are today, because history repeats itself. Yep. For me, I like it because of the empowerment in regards to we need, as people, to come together. We need to drop the hate, drop the pain, the prejudice, and just unite. That's why I love it. That's why I find it the most empowering.
Yeah. I always like the speech where he has to put in Ronnie Bass at quarterback. And he goes, I was the youngest of 12 brothers and sisters, and all of them looked up to me. And Ronnie Bass runs in, and his assistant coach goes, you said 12 brothers and sisters? He's like,
8.
He's like, or 8. And he goes,
yeah, 12 sounds better. That's also one of my favorites. You went 12 brothers and sisters? 8. Yeah, 12 sounds better. To be honest, I would have said the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, you got to make it, you got to ham it up a little bit to give that moment. But again, it shows the importance of, hey, I'm giving you this speech because you may not be ready for this moment, but, you know, neither was I in that moment. And again, 12 does sound better than 8. So
yes, yeah. As well, me, I've got, oh Christ, I got, oh cripes, I have 5 brothers and sisters, and none of them look up to me.
I don't have any, so I'm an only child.
You are so lucky. Being an only child is awesome. When you have, oh God, when you've got 4 sisters who all think they are 1,000 times better than you and have an ego snob attitude that they ignore completely because that's what narcissistic people do. And you have a stoner of a stepbrother, like, oh my God, you want to evict them and stuff like that. Yeah. None of them look up to me. None of them look up to me. But then again, maybe it's also because I eloped.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or I'm the one who's like got tattoos and dresses like a 90s rock star. I'm like, what's wrong with that?
Everybody's got their own thing, man. And you know, I tell people I'm the worst only child in the world, and the reason being is so I live with my mother, and when I was old enough to want things, she goes, "Cool, get a job." And I think I was 13 when she was like, "Hey, my company is painting the building that they're in. You're gonna come do it, and you're gonna make $5 an hour." And that was great, awesome. That's what I can do. And you know, I wanted a computer when I was a kid. All right, get a job. Got a job. Hey, I don't have enough money for the computer. Get a second job. And then if I borrowed money from her, to the penny. She has a list to the penny of money I needed to pay back to her, which it taught me how to be, responsible.
Take responsibility, yeah. When I was still living with my mom, she charged me rent and stuff like that. She put me to work when I was 14, not 13. And I've been working my ass off ever since. I've only just in the past few years finally got a stroke of luck and actually like going places I want to. I mean, my mom wanted me to go to culinary school, believe it or not. She wanted me to be a slave, to either go to culinary school and be a chef or work at Costco. She wanted me to be a slave to society.
I have learned everything about cooking from starting as a dishwasher, and then again, that was the second job at one local pizza place in the town we lived in. I was a dishwasher there. I was all that.
Same. I've been a dishwasher too. Where'd you work? Pizza joint?
Pizza joints. I did pizza joints for a long time, and then
steak restaurant for me for dishwashing.
Steak, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're one and the same. They're just.
Here's the good thing is when you come home from that job, your dog loves you.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. I did all that, and then I stayed in food. I'd say I stayed in food and beverage for a long time because I didn't hate myself enough, and to go through every thankless job there was, and then eventually food and beverage director and everything else like that. So I got to make some decisions, but then you deal with chefs themselves who are fickle creatures. Man, they are fickle creatures. I remember I had a chef, and I'm Greek, so I mean, he would make tzatziki. Yeah, exactly.
Break out the ouzo.
Yeah, he would make tzatziki sauce, and then he would go, "Here, try this." I would try it, and I go, "Oh, it's not bad, chef." And then my boss at the time would be like, "Is that how your grandmother would make it?" I go, "Well, no, it's missing this." He goes, "You have to tell him that." And so, like, I'd go to a chef, like, "Hey, I told you it was good, but you have to add this to it." And then every excuse under the sun. Well, I'm doing a twist on it. I'm doing this, which is fine. Again, they're just fickle creatures, and they have everything like that, but.
I worked in food service for 14 years. I've worked at actually a ton of restaurants here in Boston, stuff like that. This is the way I put it to people. If you work in food service, beware. You will actually learn to hate food and not love it. I've worked at 3 pizzerias. Pizza is not what I order. I typically would rather order wings or like a double bacon cheeseburger. You learn to hate food. Not only that, but in this city, the managers are complete oligarch bastards. They're assholes.
Well, it's because it's one of the only places, I say only places, one of the places where that North End is all mom and pop Italian places. And of course, they're probably related in some way, shape, or form. And that's, this is what we do. This is everything that we do. And we're not changing it for anybody. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. I still love food. And I think it's just because I never got to that level of chef. I got to the point where I would make what people would kind of have an idea for, and then I would just learn from that. And then
for me, I think it's because we rely way too much on tourism to make an income sometimes.
Yeah, no, I can see that. New Orleans was that for me. We were doing the restaurant that I worked in at the Hilton I was at was the most profitable outlet in the entire Hilton family. So all over the world, this restaurant made the most money.
I mean, and that circles back to game day and stuff like that. Like on Marathon Monday is one of the worst under all circumstances days to be working at a restaurant. It truly is. Because like there are three things you can do on Marathon Monday. You can run the marathon, you can watch the marathon, or you can go to the Sox game and cheer them on down at Fenway. Mm-hmm. And of course, people who don't have the willingness to stand on Boylston Street, like myself, I go to the marathon every single year. I went the year they swam the Boston Marathon. I'm always at the finish line, standing there, regardless of the weather conditions. But the restaurants are in overdrive. I mean, yeah, they're getting good business, but many people will tell you that they also are deeply short-staffed because people know what's coming. They do not want to work on Marathon Monday or St. Paddy's Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you have to kind of be in those situations to appreciate it more. And Marathon Monday here, because most places are closed.
Yep.
But people got to eat. That's where you're going to make most of your money as a business. I'm in a town that's on the coast. 4th of July, nothing was closed because everybody's coming to the beaches and everything else like that, so they want to make money. New Orleans, Mardi Gras Day, they're closed. Let me rephrase. Everywhere else was closed. I worked in a hotel. That didn't close. So that's what you had to deal with. And I mean, Marathon Monday is the same up here. Massachusetts, everywhere else is closed. Boston doesn't close down all those places.
No, it does not, under any circumstances. And especially like sports attire shops, they like literally envy Marathon Monday because they sell out merchandise like crazy. They're usually, I think I actually this year, because they changed up the finish line at Boylston Street the night before the marathon. I actually went there to check it out and see some of the like crazy updates. And somebody told me that one of the sports stores that week had been making almost six figures every single day with the amount of merchandise they were selling.
Yeah. You stick something in the window that's yellow and it says Boston on it, it's going to sell, especially around that time. And then the Sox, pro shops and everything else like that, that must go crazy too. Because again, you got people coming in for tourism. They're coming in to check out the marathon. Oh, Sox game's happening. This is happening. We could go over here. And that small section of the city is walkable, whereas the whole city isn't. So you're constantly hitting everything in that circle. And again, that's just the name of the game in the city, because you can't change it at this point. This city's been around forever. That's why there's traffic everywhere. They just built the roads too small.
Yeah. And if you're a fan of podcasts and you want to start a podcast, there's a shout out to all you media junkies out there and anyone listening in. If you want to start your own podcast, you can do so using Riverside.
That you can.
Yeah. And if you want to support this podcast and have a chance to be a guest on the show, you can follow me on Instagram at ATK Media or check me out on YouTube at chatterbox.94. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you love sports facts and enjoying yourself, don't forget to tune in to Lifeside Banter, which is also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and, well, anywhere you get your podcasts from.
Everywhere. I've flooded the market with it.
I'm stepping up to Podbean next. That's my next place to go to because I really need to start getting more listeners and stuff. It's tough. I've even had like a few like promo people, but then they want to connect with me through like the Facebook groups, but then they want to charge me like 200 something bucks, and I'm like, can I even trust this pisser?
Yeah, I found that a lot of my stuff has been word of mouth to start off with, because I think I started probably 4 months ago, and that's probably when I first started. And I went to school for radio video broadcasting, so I mean, I never did anything with it. So this is when I kind of went, all right, this is what I got to do. You know, I sit up in this loft up here, as you can see behind me. You know, that's why it's loft side banter. It's, you know, all this different stuff, and then word of mouth. All right, different Facebook groups I've tried and everything else like that. I've avoided trying to spend a ton of money. You know, I think YouTube, I have like 430 subscribers. So okay, it's starting to do, and that's like $25 a month to advertise my newest episode, and I get subscribers. Okay,
yeah.
And
YouTube's typically where it at, because like if you ask a lot of like the new generation, like 10, 15-year-olds, if you were to ask them what's your favorite thing to watch on TV, and they're like YouTube.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where I think everybody just needed to kind of go to that and whatever. And that was one of the first things that I tried to get on, and everything else. It's been a grind, definitely. And it will always be a grind. I just always want to get better with every episode. I remember I joined a thing called Fantasy Turf War, which is a fantasy football league for small businesses, and we help each other advertise and stuff like that. And one of the things that I was asked when I was kind of on the spotlight or whatever was, I want my next episode to be the best episode. Like Brady says, what's the best Super Bowl? The next one. Every episode I want to do something differently to be better and everything else. So all it is keep putting stuff out there, and eventually somebody will listen, will tell somebody, will then tell somebody, will done. So it's just what it is.
Yeah, one of my first things I also need to do is I need to get my own studio. Like this is a desk in my 1-bedroom apartment with my wife, and like literally, I don't want to say I'm fighting her on anything like that, but when we move, which we hope to be able to do by the end of the year, I'm trying to get her a place where she will literally like let me take part of the apartment, or if we can afford a 2-bedroom, take that second bedroom and I convert it into my man cave, where I have like all of my posters and stuff like that, all of my media stuff, where I can do what I do, which is podcasting, screenwriting, etc.
I mean, that's what mine is here. I mean, you got my, Echo One up over here, Doctor Who TARDIS and stuff like that, Star Wars stuff. But I have a cat condo behind me. I mean, I got a few cats. That's which is right here. So I mean, that's the one thing that I look at. I'm like, I just gotta move it. But my cats are used to it. So now I'm like, well, I don't want to move it.
My cat is not fully used to it. Sometimes she tries to be a guest on the show. She'll like literally jump up on my lap, and I'm like, Beth, gorda, no, carajo. Because my cat only understands Spanish. How's that sound for all you pet owners? I got a cat that only understands Spanish.
I have a Dalmatian downstairs, and he'll sometimes come up and poke his head right here, and you'll see him and stuff like that. So, again, my thing too is eventually a studio, but I'm in a space. It's decorated how I kind of want. I got my TV and my PlayStation right here. You know what? I'll figure it out after that.
Exactly. Well, looks like we're at that time, the worst time of the day for restaurants, closing time.
Yep.
Just like the song by Justin Timberlake. Yeah. But it was great having you on the show, Andrew.
It was great being here. I appreciate it. And any movies we want to talk about, anything you want to do like that, it doesn't necessarily have to be sports, I'll come back.
Nice. Great.
You want me back, of course.
Yes, definitely. So, until next time, folks, stay high on life. Out.